got it? Okay, so I know that you guys all heard the story, The Storm, before. The substitute read the story, but we're going to go over it again because a couple of you said you didn't really remember the story, very much of it, so we're going to do it again. So right here, we see this picture. Who do you think that is?
Mr. Colin.
Raise your hand.
Mr. Colin wrote the story.
Right, exactly. So as you can see, let's read this. So as a little boy, Raoul Colin was often very sick. He spent a lot of time inside drawing. He even made his own comic books. Today, Mr. Colin lives in New York and works as an artist and a writer, so he's the author and the illustrator of this story, okay? And so, this book is also a realistic fiction. Have you guys ever heard that? Give me a thumbs up if you have heard realistic fiction before. It's a type of story, okay? So a realistic fiction is a made-up story that could happen in real life, okay? And so you know the title is called The Storm. So the storms happen in real life, right? But the author wrote his own story, okay? So it's realistic, but at the same time a made-up story, okay? So I'm going to show you the title page. The Storm, written and illustrated by Raoul Colin. And as you can see, there's a picture right there of a man. And you know what? Illustrations are really important, along with the title, to make predictions, to kind of guess what's going to happen. So can someone raise their hand and tell me, what do you think is going to happen in this story based on looking at the pictures? And I'm going to call in somebody who's following expectations. Claire?
Well, I heard of a realistic fiction from the school library.
Okay, great.
I got one of those books, and it was about a cat who saved a man from a fire.
Okay, you can tell me more about it later. So, do you have any ideas of what the story is going to be about by looking at the picture? No? Okay, Leah, what do you think?
The dog and the kid is going to get scared.
Okay, well, you guys have already heard parts of the story, but you can see by the picture that there's a storm in the background, and you can see a picture of an older man. So he's probably going to be in the story too, right, Addison? Okay.
You just took away the part that I was going to say.
Okay, well, you know what? You can tell me later, okay? So, we're going to go on to the first page. So the first page, Pop has come in. Look, he is wet, and you can see in the illustration that he's all wet. Do you think it'd be easier if I just hold it out?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see, Pop has come in. Look, he is wet.
No, we can see better.
And you can see that he's all wet. Why do you think he's wet? Someone raise your hand and tell me why you think he's wet.
Because it's raining outside.
Because it's raining outside, right? The title of the story was The Storm. Tim and Rip ran to him. So you see that those two boys are running to him. So looking at that picture and seeing them running to him, what do you think that means? How do you think they feel about Pop? James?
They like him a lot.
They like him because they're running towards him. They're happy to see him, right? Tim, Rip, and Pop have fun. How do you know that they're having fun? By looking at the picture, raise your hand if you can tell me how you know they're having fun, Zoe.
Because they're playing with the dog.
Okay, yeah, they're playing with the dog. Addison?
Because Pop has the puppy's ball.
Yes, so that seems like they kind of like Pop too, right? They're playing with him, they're having a really good time. Okay, and then the next page says Tim had to go to bed. Now it says that, but you can also look at the pictures and kind of see what they're talking about. So in the pictures, you can look, he's holding something. Raise your hand if you can tell me what he's holding. What is he holding, Nora?
He's holding Tim's pajamas.
His pajamas, so that's a clue. So it's really important to look for those clues in the illustrations. You can really see what's going on. So he has his pajamas, and look, he's pointing towards the clock saying it's time to go to bed. And Tim doesn't look too happy, does he? What did Tim and Rip see? Oh, can you blow into your mouth? Release? There's a big storm out there with lightning and thunder. It looks really scary. Show me what you would do if you were in a storm. Or if you saw a storm out your window. Show me with your face. Some of you look happy. That's kind of surprising. I'm scared of storms. Okay, Tim hid in his bed. Rip hid too. Are they being brave? Yes or no? Release. No, they're hiding under the covers. They're really, really scared. I would do that too. I really don't like thunder and lightning.
That's what I do.
Yeah, all of you guys have different thoughts on that.
I don't even notice.
Okay, there's a storm at night. Look what Pop had for Tim. Tim had a sip. You can see he has milk for Tim. He's helping him. So it looks like Pop is being a really good helper. Okay, whoever's making that noise. We need to follow expectations. Ask ourselves, are we following expectations? Pop had a hug for Tim. He had a hug for Rip too. So how does Pop feel about Tim and Rip? Raise your hand if you can tell me how he thinks about them, how he feels about them.
Good.
He feels good. Pop sat with Tim and Rip. So he read him a story, he brought him milk, he made him feel a lot better, okay? So how do you think they feel at the end of the story? Do they feel better or do they feel worse? Okay, team one. I want you to get with your partners. Teach one. I always get that wrong. Teach one, okay? And I want you to talk about how he feels at the end of the story.
Better. Happy. Better. At the end of the story.
Brayden, you should be talking to Addison, okay? Okay, class. Class. Okay, I need to get that right. It's teach one and teach new, not team one and team two. I always get that wrong. Okay, so I heard some of you talking about some really good ideas about how they feel at the end of the story. How did Tim and Rip feel at the end of the story compared to the beginning of the story? Benjamin.
They felt happy.
They felt happy? Why did they feel happy? How do you know this? What did you look for? Addison?
They felt better because they weren't hiding in their sheets and they were like,
And did somebody do something that made them feel better?
Pop got them milk and gave them hugs and stories.
And that helps. Give me a thumbs up if someone's ever helped you before. Feel better. I know that during storms sometimes I feel kind of nervous and scared. And I've had people help me too. It's really important. Okay, so keep all those thoughts in your head.
For a little.
Mirror. Crisscross applesauce. Hands in my lap. Eyes on me.
Eyes on you.
Voices at 0. You all did such a great job with that story, but now we're going to go on to something else, okay? So we learned a lot about those characters, right? And learning about characters is very important. That's an important part of the story. So we looked for clues in the illustrations, the pictures, and we also looked for clues for what they were saying and what they were doing, their actions, right? So you all learned a lot about the different characters. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go to...
Just turn, it's already on, so just turn the that off.
The power.
Yep.
We're going to work on a chart, okay?
Again, harder.
Thank you guys for being so
Don't
patient.
do that.
I know, it's kind of funny. I'm like,
Can I show you?
oh, not right now. I don't know what's going on.
Just press it down for a while until the lights go off. There you go.
Okay. Great. Okay, so this is a character chart, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to try to understand the characters in the story, okay? Because authors tell what characters say and do, and usually authors make their characters Brayden speak and feel and act, because characters are really important in the story, right? Okay, so what are characters? Can someone raise their hand and share? What are characters? James?
They're like people in the story.
People? What about animals? Can animals be characters? Shake your head yes or no. Yes? Really? Okay, so was there an animal in the story?
Yes.
So he's a character as well, okay? So we need to use the clues from the story, and you're also going to use clues from your real life, how people are, to make this chart and to understand how the characters feel and why they act a certain way, okay? So I want to write down